We don't wash our hands before every meal. When we drive our cars, there's one hand on the wheel. When we leave for work, the sky is still black, and the dark will return long before we come back. The salt of the earth, the species rebirth. We read the Bible and we go to church. There's an ache in our hearts when something is wrong, and we stop to help. We don't just walk on. We love our children, we love our wives. We give them the moments, every moment we find. When hands are in need, we run out to help. When something is needed, we do it ourselves. The salt of the earth, the species rebirth. We read the Bible and we go to church. There's an ache in our hearts when something is wrong. We stop to help, we don't just move on. Don't wash our hands before every meal. We don't chase illusion, we stick to what's real. When we leave the earth, we won't look back, 'cause the Lord is my Savior and He's finally come back. Salt of the earth, the species rebirth. We read the Bible and we go to church. There's an ache in our hearts when something is wrong. We stop to help, we don't just walk on. Well, howdy, everybody, and welcome back to Air Conditioners with Zack on Saturday night. It's always fun to talk about air conditioners when you should be out with your family. I'm just kidding. Stick around. Don't leave just because I said that, because you had a crisis of conscience. Just stay here. We had a poll up, guys, if you've noticed there. Which tech are you most like? And we're talking about the techs that are actually going to be here tonight. Yours truly right here. We use tech loosely, so don't say nothing. Ted and Joe. Joe was the most iconic and relatable technician with 41%. Joe, that's right. The duckboard guru, 41%. We assume that's a heavy Floridian vote and can only explain it with that. Ted is second with 35%, and they saw through the illusion. I'm last with 24%. Randy says the family's watching, so that's really, really nice. Okay, we have family watching, so we'll remember that. Our language is good now. We've all come to Jesus, and language has been cleaned up. Do not let him watch previous episodes from 2 years ago, though. Mark Cotter's here. We got Jeff Kuiper. We got KW Carver, Kangaroo God, and let's see, Brandon Price, Luke Vagel, Kangaroo God, back again. Sam Andrew. Sam says, let's see here. I have some unanswered questions for the master. That's Ted, he says, when he's available. So when Ted gets on here, Sam's going to pose those tough questions to him. I can only assume they're going to be real brain ticklers. Cooling with Kraus, not Allison Krauss. It's a different person. We've got Roger Gregory. Donnie Jackson says this should be a fun show to watch. Pressure's on, buddy. Pressure's on. Clint Glasgow, Shannon Knight, HVAC is here. Says, you boys play nice. Hey, everybody here gets along great. Just because we have differences, we work through them. See, that's nice. Like the duckboard thing from last week, which is just funny to me. It's very funny. He's from Florida. What do you expect? What do you expect him to say? They don't even sell metal duct in Florida. How are you going to use it? You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to end that poll there. Congratulations to Joe for winning essentially nothing but notoriety. Tonight, we're going to have the guys on here. We're going to have Ted. We're going to have Joe. We're going to have some fun because you out there, you figuratively, those willing to try, could potentially win something very nice. I'm going to show you guys, give you a little sneak peek here so that you'll be mesmerized and ready to play. You could win, oh snap, an HVAC Shop Talk t-shirt. Should I just hold for applause? Okay. Nope. That's going to do better than that. We also have a bunch of stickers. Hey, look, Ted, I found Cowboys of HVAC stickers. Legit found them looking through drawers in my shop. So we got a few of those too. And we also got some Hyperion shirts, Hyperion stickers. I don't even remember where those came from. A Beckett shirt. We got a Makita tool bag there. Basically, you're looking at anything I can find in my shop to use for this game. But hey, now, you're an all-star. Get your game. Okay, focus. The grand prize is going to be the Yellow Jacket Combustion Analyzer, but that doesn't come easy. Okay, if you ever played the Skilled Trade Up before, Skilled Trade Up is a game, and this will be later in the show, where you have to come on to the live stream. That's a barrier for a lot of people. It's nice to sit at home and make chats, but it's harder to come on live. If you come on live and you answer 4 questions, you win yourself a combustion analyzer. So basically, you answer an easy question, you win a shirt. You can either keep your shirt and go about your life with victory in your eyes, or you can risk it and trade up to the next prize. And if you trade all the way up and you get all the questions right, you win. But I will tell you, the 4th and final question is oftentimes a mother, and it's a very difficult question. A lot of people crash and burn in this game, and it's amusing. But every now and then, someone wins the whole thing. We've had guys winning gauges and all sorts of stuff. Recovery machines. We've given away quite a bit of stuff. Yep, Shannon Knight's having a flashback right now. If you look over in your chat, Shannon Knight HVAC says ODP level equals 18%. That's right. That was a question he had like 2 years ago. He remembers. Oh, man. Let's see if anybody else there. We got Dallas is here. We have HVAC Overtime, which I think is Adam. I think that's Adam, but I'm not positive. And maybe we'll have a fun skill trade up and give away some nice prizes. That's later in the show here. I have a bunch of questions that you guys have sent in to me over the last few weeks, which I'm going to pose to Joe and Ted, and they're going to answer those. We also have stuff just like this that I receive every day. Can a Harbor Freight vacuum pump pull a deep vacuum? And the comment was, why did you add the noise? Thumbs down. I don't even know what noise he's talking about. I think it's just a noise that vacuum pumps make. I'm not sure. I could have checked the video, but I didn't. And then we have stuff like this as well. I receive a lot of these. This is on a video called HVAC Service Train Blower Motor Replacement. And I put in parentheses another one because at the time I had done several service calls in a row where I had to replace train blower motors. And these are TWE air handlers, I believe. So that's an older model of air handler. They're much more advanced now. But I just had a bunch of them in a row that went bad. And people are asking, how do you wire it? Please let me know. I'm trying to swap mine out, and I have a death wish. I wish to meet the Lord and Savior himself today. And that's what they're going to do if they try to wire that unit. They're going to surely die. That's what I say. You will surely die if you try to wire stuff when you're not trained. You're going to go and you're going to get up there, and Peter's going to be standing there. If you're Catholic, I guess. Peter will be standing there going, how did it happen? Wire and train unit? All right, you got to wait for a while. That's what he's going to say because it's ridiculous. Okay, guys, I'll take a quick break, and I'm going to bring the guys on here. We're going to have a great conversation. It's going to go sideways for like whole half-hour blocks at a time probably, but, it's fine. It'll be all right. It'll be just fine. You guys will enjoy it. We'll be right back with Ted and Joe. HVAC Shop Talk, we back after these messages. The best HVAC companies understand they need to have the highest efficiency and quality in and out of the field. That means having a quality service management software that matches the high technical level of your work. Field Pulse is rated as the #1 HVAC FSM and #1 for both ease of use and customer service. On average, businesses grow 60% within their first year after signing up with Field Pulse. Start your free 7-day trial by going to the description of this podcast or YouTube video and clicking on my link. Then take your business to the next level with Field Pulse today. The Beckett BK17 and 22 condensate pumps are workhorses in the HVAC industry. They have a 3-year warranty. They can tolerate water up to 150 degrees. They come with a bullseye level that helps you install them perfectly every time, and a 2.5 quart tank capacity. These things aren't just everyday condensate pumps. They're built to last, and they're from a company that's been around a long, long time. So you know they know what they're doing. Find out more at BeckettUS.com. NAVAC Global won an Innovation Award at the recent AHR show, which is no surprise. They have all these new battery tools, including the NEF 6LM break-free power flaring tool, which can do 100 flares with one battery charge and only weighs 3 pounds. Find out more at NAVACglobal.com. Alrighty, joining me now, which is funny because I can see the guys off of the screen here, and, you know, Joe had to walk away. I saw a child, and I saw Joe walk away. I said, okay, well, I understand that. And then Joe came back, and then Ted walked away. So Ted's off in the distance now. I'm not quite sure what he's doing, but here's Joe, and we call him the duck board guru. Hello, Joe. Joe, are you good now?
I don't know. We'll see. Sheldon,
we'll see what happens.
Sheldon too.
You will need to talk at least as long as it takes Ted to find his way back to the computer again.
Okay.
Wait.
I probably went to get some chocolate cake.
There he goes. Eating chocolate cake. So whoa.
How'd you know that?
I hear echo. Ted, you're causing an echo problem.
No.
I'm pretty sure it's you. Oh, it's gone now. Never mind. You must have plugged in your headphones.
My volume turning up and it made a ding.
Okay. Well,
I promise not to touch it again.
That's good enough. Mm-hmm. That's good enough. How many times have we all said that in our lives? Pause for reflection.
That's just wrong.
Well, it depends on what you're thinking of. It might have been the remote for somebody. You know what I'm saying? But you guys, obviously, it wasn't the remote. Ted, I know it wasn't the remote for you because you had a look on your face immediately. You went back to a certain day. All righty. So Ted has a YouTube channel. All of you are subscribed to it, I'm assuming, and it's anti-DIY HVAC. Joe has a YouTube channel, and he's overdue about 4 years for a video. I don't think one's coming.
They've demonetized me.
They for lack of effort.
Yeah.
So,
although I do have a video I've been trying to make for a while. If I can, not preview it here, but what is it? Plug it here, I guess.
Go for it.
Is a modification for the Icon light from Harbor Freight.
The Icon light?
Dude,
yeah,
get
the
that
stick light.
John HVAC and let him do that.
No, that's a good one. It's a good one.
He's the Harbor Freight guy, not you.
What? Hey, I love Harbor Freight, but what are you going to do to a light to modify it?
You're going to have to wait for the video.
Oh, okay. All right. Are you going to build like I got a Skill 12-volt spotlight that I made, and it works like a beast. I can see Neptune.
I'm not making anything or adding anything to it. I'm just making it better by taking it apart and reassembling it.
Well, I don't know if that actually means anything.
Of course,
you're recreating the same device
in a better way.
Okay, that's cool. But hey, is it going to be cooler than this? Just hold on 1 second. This is a portable Sawzall.
Gun?
No, no, demonetized. You mentioned guns. No, this is a portable Sawzall with a Bauer battery on it, and it works great. I just had to do a little bit of alteration to it.
With
now
Dremel?
That's Dremel was involved. Yes,
doesn't have a blade.
It doesn't have a blade. It cuts extremely slowly.
Zack isn't allowed to have blades.
Yeah, the store said I couldn't have a blade. Once I told them what I was doing, they kind of slid the blades off the counter and put them in a bag and said, "You don't need these. You can still cut with its laser feature," which I went home to find immediately. Not yet. Haven't found it yet. All right, so we all know who Joe is, except for that he doesn't make videos, so they just know him from talking to Ted online. Ted, you're the guy he talks to online. You're anti-DIY. You make a lot of videos. How you still going after all these years making these videos? Come on.
Well, I've slowed down, but I'm fixing to pick it back up.
Because it's summer, right?
Well, because I was a little short on help for about a year. And I've got those spots filled, and I'm back to back to doing what I normally do now. That's a serious deal right there. I was a full-time service tech for about a year and a half, and me and my wife didn't like it.
We didn't like it. Ride with you?
Ride with me. Dude, she barely lets me in the house. You've been here. What are you talking about? Does she ride with me? She rides with me to church and out to eat. Like it. Well, she didn't like me being a full-time service tech because I was constantly.
Because you're always like shocking yourself and screwing things up.
You know, coming home at 10 o'clock at night and rummaging through the kitchen, smelling like refrigerant oil.
Well, how'd you keep your business straight if you're out to all hours doing the service part of it?
It wasn't easy. It was tough. I got some good people. I really do. I just, was a little short in the service department actually it started right after COVID. And, but it wasn't so bad, but about a year and a half, it was really pretty rough. But we got it back. We're doing pretty good now.
So you have one technician?
2.5.
2.5. Who's the half? You're yeah.
So bottom line,
though, we have a truthful moment. Truthful moment.
What it is, I work Sundays and I fill in when if whoever's on call has to be off, I fill in. But I work Sundays. I don't work people on Sunday, but I do. I'll go. So that makes me like a half a tech, right?
That's okay. I see the logic of what you're saying. How often do you actually have to go out on a Sunday?
If it's 90 and 95 and 100 degrees, pretty much several each Sunday.
Joe, what do you do on Sundays? Because you're just the only guy there.
Cuts his phone off.
Yeah.
Has it made? He has it made.
I didn't get any calls today.
No,
I'm going to get there one day.
I don't try to be everything for everyone. So, yeah. I mean, if it was a unit we just put in or something, I'd go. Or a really good customer, I'd go.
Or if you had just put in 8,000 or 9,000 units, you'd have to go.
Because of the volume.
Well, we do about 300, 325 a year, and I've been in business for 33 and a half years, and we've been heavily at it for about the last 15. So do the math. We have thousands of them out there for sure.
What were the numbers again? I'm actually going to do the math.
Okay, do the math. We do now about 300 plus a year. That's probably been going on for a good 6 to 7 years. For about 15, we've been well over 150 a year. Now, prior to that, I was kind of lucky if I did, 50, 60 a year.
So you have 4,200.
I got more than that.
Oh, that was your numbers.
Nope.
Except for the prior.
Sorry. 4,200. Try again.
Wait a second. You got 4,200. Joe, how many do you have?
4,201.
4,201. Congratulations. Congratulations. I think there's some hanging chads in Florida.
One weekend at my house, and Joe is totally destroyed.
He did 3 change outs that weekend.
Socially unacceptable.
So, okay, well, people that hear this, they're like, Joe came to your house. Was it a service call? I mean, why was he at your house?
Yeah, Ted couldn't figure it out, and his wife called me and was like, "We need you here, and we need you here now." Ted's
And you
been screwing with
promised-
this thing all day.
You promised not to ever tell anybody that, Joe. So your word is no good.
Oh, I'm
gave
sorry.
your
I got
word.
caught up and I was asked. I thought it.
All right,
I
that's
thought
it. Now I'm telling your children's names: Sheldon and Sheldon.
Yep.
Is he
Sheldon
just-
1, Sheldon 2.
Is there two
Sure.
Sheldons, or does Ted just stutter?
No, those are the
No,
only
Sheldon 1,
names he
Sheldon
would,
2.
So you
Kind of
just,
like thing
it's
1
like
and thing 2.
George Foreman, like George
the only
Foreman.
names he would give me. I think
So
one of them's Zachary, isn't it? I don't
that's
know.
nice. I like the way that sounds.
I can't remember.
Oh, my name's Zachary. I'm just kidding. Okay. Joe, Zach, good names. These are great names. Ted, good names too.
Mhm.
So I actually had people
Theodore.
that supplied Ted Theodore.
Oh,
Logan, or something like that. I can't remember what it is. I have several really great things that people wrote that I don't know the answer to, that I thought would be great to pose to you guys, because then I can write them back later as if I had answered it. So
Steal all the glory.
Ask
Yeah,
him.
that's well, hey, we can definitely do that. All right, Joe. Let's see. I'm just kidding. Let me do that. That's
On the spot.
Yeah, that's too much.
on the
Joe.
spot. Well, I had the question right here, so we would have covered him up anyway. This is our buddy RJ.
Oh no.
RJ. So we know it's going to be
That
intelligent.
dude asked hard questions.
Well, I know two things when I see RJ commenting. I know it's going to be smart, and I know I'm going to be wrong about something. So let's find out what I was wrong about on this episode. So 3 days ago, RJ says there is a way to service complex machines and get them back running right away. That's the part where I disagree. Boeing does it. Toyota does it. Ted does it. That's why I selected this question, because you were involved. You work on the best. You know your product. You limit the equipment you work on, and you stock the parts. He really likes you. Even the complex parts, which are like double pole contactors, you get paid well. The equipment is as reliable as any. You have customers who are happy, and your machines are running quickly when they do fail. It's much better than working with the devil, which goes off the video title. It's just not random. He said devil, even if you know him. So, Ted, is that true? Can you get any one of your machines up the same day if it fails?
The ones that you mean the trains that I installed?
Yes.
Absolutely.
No matter what the part.
Well, I mean, if you run over it with your tractor, I'm probably not going to be able to fix that. Or if it is like I have all compressors, all motors, all boards, all.
That's nice.
You have every inverter board you could ever need.
Do what?
You have every inverter board you could ever need.
Absolutely.
In stock.
Yep. Drives and everything. Yep.
For every single one.
Every single one.
Joe, you were in the shop.
For one thing.
Did you see him?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if
he wouldn't show me that.
You went in the basement and you went to one of my other. Oh man, you're such a clown. Anyway,
I said I want to see the inverter boards, and he said,
asked about inverters.
"No, I
There's
can't
no
show you
board.
that."
It's a drive, Joe. It's called a drive. And there's one.
You don't drive it.
5 tons, 18 and 20, 18, 19, and 20. One drive.
But what is that? Programmed differently?
Correct. There's a personality module. Looks a lot like a little USB plug-in that
So you
has.
just take that off the old one and plug it on the new one?
Absolutely, yeah.
What if that was corrupted? What if that was corrupted? Do you have that?
Then you have to have the machine to program it with that I have and don't know how to work. Okay.
But it's possible because you do have it.
Oh, yeah, but I don't know how to work it. I mean, I've had to use it one time since 2013. And the guy, my buddy from Lawrence, that's an FSR, had to actually get on the phone with me and hold my hand to get me to use it that one time. But I can take one and wipe it and reprogram it.
I think that's pretty good.
Then, not a corrupt one, but an unused one or whatever. But he's right. There is a, so what decides for the drive, what stores the tonnage and the model and the serial number and all that is a little USB thumb drive looking thing that plugs on the board. and they have them zip tied to the wiring harness or a little bracket inside the unit so that you don't take it off with the drive and throw it away. And then you get your new drive and put it on and say, hey, I'm missing something. So we have those on several of the boards, the furnace boards, not the air handlers, the furnace boards, the outdoor unit drives, and we call them personality modules.
I like that. I know a lot of people who are missing those.
And we have or I know some people that are corrupt as well, but
oh yeah, they got a virus.
I do have everything that would. Now the units I sell, now I don't sell the so-called 2-stage unloading compressors because they're such junk. So I've maybe got 1 or 2 of those in stock just because they were, I happened to get them in a scratch and dent forklifted unit or something. But as far as stock goes, for the stuff that I actually sell, I've got I actually have every blower housing where I can just plug and play. Warranty work I take very seriously.
And to me, it's amazing that you have all that stuff. And it's not that I don't believe you, I would love to see where you keep it, just to see that area of your shop and see all that crap everywhere.
There's a couple of facilities and it's very organized, and there's walls of shelving with all of the blowers. I mean, all the TAMs, the TIMs. There's some legacy stuff there. I even have some package unit blowers, all of them. I've probably got, I don't know. Joe will stop me if I exaggerate. So I'll probably say 60 or so blowers, maybe 65 complete blower assemblies. I've probably got another 30 motors that are in boxes. And then I've got probably close to about maybe 75 or 80 scratch and dent as is units that I buy and ride around all the warehouses and buy them up.
Oh, man. So evaporator coil, let's just go all the way. Evaporator coils? No. Condenser coils? No.
I have a few of the popular, but like we're talking about every part. No, I don't have every part for evaporator coils.
That's pretty good. But you got leak stop.
Absolutely not. It's not allowed anywhere near in my shop and will never be used.
Fantastic. Okay, that's good.
Just messed up right there. I'm crossing the line when I'm using dye. That's a foreign substance, and Trane really doesn't endorse that. So it's only certain machines, and especially everybody else's carriers or whatever, Lennox. I've used the dye just to prove, see, I told you it was a problem. But, and it's a quick way. Like I don't use it on my own. I don't really have to. We'll just find it and fix it. But when it's somebody else's, I'm not going to put the time into it, and they're not going to pay me for it. So I just prove it quick with the dye. But we don't use the dye that has leak stop in it. That's glue, man. Why would you put glue in your unit?
Yeah. When it does multiple things, it's going to be problematic. It's dye, leak stop, rejuvenator. Get 2 more degrees on that split.
PXV freezer.
Yeah. It'll clog it right shut. So when you say you don't use dye on others, do you mean units that you did not install? You use dye on those?
I do use it on others, and then very little on my own. But I will if it's really tough and I can't find it and I've got an hour wrapped up in it, and it's the type of weather where I absolutely cannot pump it down and charge it and leave it for a while or whatever, then yeah, I'll cop out and put it in there and come back later with the light and find it.
Joe, what about you? Do you use dye, and if so, when?
Joe's perfect. He never uses anything.
He wouldn't do it, or he'd die not trying.
No, I did mess around with dye years ago, but I never really had much luck with it, so I just kind of quit messing with that dye stuff.
He doesn't know how to use it.
Ooh. He experimented with it in college.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like, things glow, and it's like materials glow. It's just, I even like went as far as putting tarps over the outdoor unit to look in it and stuff, but
Did you have the yellow glasses, Joe?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Okay. I've noticed that.
And I had the special light. I'm
Yeah.
not a total moron, Ted, if that's what you're
It's like
implying.
have a flashlight and 3D glasses.
I mean-
There ain't no leaks.
You certainly are, but
Someone's huffing your Freon, ma'am.
Yeah, another straighter is the culprit.
I'll tell you, I've had it that was barely evident. Just because of the spot it was in,
You know-
like going uphill from a joint, depending on, it can just pour out of some places and just be barely evident, and you don't think that's it, and then it bubbles. And you change it and fix it, and it goes away. But it's a 2-week leak down. So I've had the dye. It's strange how it comes flying out of some areas, but there are certain joints where it just doesn't, it's just barely evident. And we're like, yeah, that's not compelling, but let's change it. And the leak goes away. The baby's crying. What Joe's wife did is show the baby a picture of Joe's face, and now it's all upset.
This is what's going to happen later. And then the face goes.
There's actually nothing wrong with Joe's face, really, other than the fact that eventually it starts talking. There's nothing wrong.
It's coming right now. It's coming right now. I can tell.
Sorry, Joe.
Well, Joe's all right. I like Joe, and he battles with family life. You never know when there's going to be a kid coming in, like, and he pushed me, and I didn't say anything to him. He just did it, that sort of thing. And then you just want to slap everybody. It's like you want to give a blanket punishment to everybody around you, just to cover everybody that actually is guilty.
Gosh, is that what you do, man?
Does that come off as sounding like a bad father?
No, it sounds like a sergeant in the army that punishes the whole platoon. Everybody do 100 push-ups.
That sounds, yeah.
That'll stop it.
There is bad moods that will cause that situation to occur. I'll just say that. Maybe that soften it just a little bit. In fact, I should probably change the subject before someone unsubscribes from me.
As long as you have a bad cop, good cop situation where mom can come behind you and say, you don't have to do all 100 of them. Daddy didn't mean it. If you go back on it yourself, you're really asking for trouble. But
you're absolutely asking for trouble.
Absolutely. Be careful to say what you mean.
Hey,
Joe's a new dad. His are incredibly small, so he's got it all coming to him.
Joe's been a dad for like 15 years.
2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years.
Is he 20?
Yeah.
He has a daughter. He was 20. Well, I remember last time I asked you that, she was 12.
Yeah.
That's how long it's been.
I was told not to mention that, but okay.
Is she in the Secret Service?
Yes, you didn't tell Zack.
Always the last to know. I tell you what.
Legalities that are pending, so.
I don't know what that means, but I'm actually a little afraid to proceed.
Use any names to protect the innocent if there are any innocent.
I was 2 seconds away from saying her name, so I'm glad you said that.
I don't even know her name. I hope she's
Sheldina.
Smart like Joe.
Sheldina. Sheldina.
Shelleria. I hope she's smart like Joe.
Shelleria sounds like a seafood disease.
Spectroline, Mark has a good point.
What is that, like a segue?
No, well, actually, it's only my opinion before I make these bold statements, but Spectroline is definitely the best of the UV dyes for me. I make a jug. Some of them might have seen the video. I evacuate a recovery jug down to like nothing, down to like as low as I let it sit over there and run like 300 microns, and I'll suck a few of those little easy eject 1 through 5 ton tubes into it, and then I'll pump about 15 pounds of liquid 410 into that jug, and I have a separate set of gauges, and if I've got a leaker that I don't have time to invest in it and it's somebody else's, or if it's a Linux, I could just about blindfold myself and go change the evaporator and it fixes the Linux, but there are
Goodman
things.
You're trying to pronounce Goodman?
Goodman we just throw away.
Okay. That's fine.
Big lighter, man, but
that's part of the flow chart, right?
Yeah. And
is there low refrigerant? Yes. Discard and start over.
put a train coil in.
Put a tray coil.
I mean, that's what we do. Now, if it's an air handler, that's a problem. We just put the whole air handler in. But I was telling Joe the other day, and he agreed. He had the same thing down there. We went to go, or I did. I went to go buy a coil from Carrier or ICP, whoever it was, and the whole air handler was like $910, and the coil alone was $1,100. So I think he did similar to what I did. I just bought the whole air handler, slid the coil out, slid the new one in, gave him the blower as well as a bonus. Just charged him for a coil. Couldn't charge him for the whole unit, but just to give him the warranty, I did change the doors and put the doors in, a new serial number and registered it for them without really saying anything. But, they weren't paying for the whole unit. If they had paid for the whole unit, I would have had to swap the whole unit. So I just charged them enough for the coil replacement. It was out of warranty. So I charged them enough for the coil replacement to buy the whole unit. Just done a little part swapping, and they're in good shape. They have an old wiring harness and an old set of heat strips. But they have a new blower assembly and a new coil and drain pan assembly.
Well, that's an interesting thing right there.
Well, I did it without Joe's guidance, and then I found out that Joe did the same thing.
Yeah, we just have to find out the new. I have to find out if the new units are gonna still let us do that or not. Plus, Carrier and ICP are stupid. They send you the coil. It's like build your own coil with the old coil parts that are all rusted and corroded away.
What is the deal with that? Why would they do that?
It didn't even have the
baffle plate thing. Yeah,
it was total build your own out of a slab, 2 slabs.
Yeah, and it's rusted completely apart. Mm-hmm. The parts that they say you can still use this from the factory. They're saying like
understand what coils look like.
Yeah, you start unscrewing like a 5/16 screw, and the piece of metal that it was attached to breaks in half and starts spinning with it like a little flag. It's like easily used.
And cuts Joe's finger.
Yeah, then you have tetanus, and you have to go to the hospital. Is Carrier going to pay for that? No, sir. They will not. And they won't return your phone calls either.
Eddie's trying to get me to do that.
Shoot your webcam?
I don't know why. He just some people think that's so dumb that it's funny.
Hey, I know what you mean.
Well, now you actually pulled your trigger. I didn't.
Yeah. Man, that vibration was killer. You know what I'm saying? I don't think this is a very good Sawzall.
Yeah. One day Ted's going to do that, and it's just going to be like, end of feed.
Right. What happened? Ted shot a cat in his yard through the wall.
Well, I hope not.
Well, I mean, I don't know what level of the house you're on. So maybe a bird or something?
In the basement.
A cat in the yard then.
Yeah, I'm allowed in the basement here. Yeah, that
Ted shot a mole.
Right there's underground, so it'd go through 2 walls, 3 walls, and be underground.
Ted shot a hole in his neighbor's geothermal coil. How's that?
That would be bad.
That would be funny, actually. There's a water spot's been here for a week. Don't know what's going on here.
Because I put it in. Shot my own coil.
Time for a new one. You know what I'm saying? Good, better, best time. Good, better, best.
I told him to drill a well and just dump the discharge in my koi pond, but
well, that sounds like a great open loop.
Floating.
Another koi stuck in the lines. Let's go ahead and get them out with the Milwaukee Air Snake. It'll work great.
How people do all this, like Kraus, our buddy Coolin here, says in 20 to 21, he probably did 10 to 15 TAM9 evaporator coils, and I sell a bunch of those, and I think I've only changed maybe 2 or 3 since the TAM9 hadn't been out, but just since I've been using Hyperion's period, I've only changed a few. They weren't even all mine. So I guess maybe I have a high volume of work and a low volume of service. I don't know how these people find 15 leaking coils when I don't have that in the tenure of time that I've sold that product.
What do you think happened?
he must work for a giant that sells 400 a year, maybe.
He'll probably answer. He'll answer. He'll
I don't
answer.
know.
We'll get to the bottom of this. How
He
all the
might.
time now coils are leaking.
That was a while back. He's probably all buzzed up by now.
Well, I don't know what to see. I don't remember. Well, no, we changed a few aluminum train coils. Not a whole lot. I always thought they were pretty good for the most part.
Yeah, there's been a few.
The older ones.
Oh, yeah.
Bad times. I changed a lot of those.
I tell you, the worst thing you had to change on the older ones was the doggone doors that would warp up and then pop off of the they would pop off of the door switch, and you'd be going through all the electrical, digging, testing breakers, opening panels, and get up there and find out, take the door off and push the two switches in, and the unit comes on. You're really mad, especially if you spent 45 minutes digging around and there's nothing wrong. I remember putting about 30 layers of tape on one end door and stick. I didn't have it. Man, I was trying to bend it. I mean, I was trying to do what I could, and I just kept little strips of tape about that long, and it's tape, and stuck it on there, and it pushed in the door switches. The homeowner was on top of me with that one, and he did not want those switches bypassed. I wanted to straight wire them.
Well, I never could get close enough to one of those Hyperions because the air coming through the door would blow me off of the platform.
That's for the people that don't know how to put them back together.
That was me.
And they are a pain. They really are a cantankerous. They're a superior product when it comes to water management, airflow, efficiency, all of that. But, they're really cantankerous to work on. They're a real pain to weld in. We got to where we would just weld on little 4 or 5 inch sticks of pipe, stick them in and weld them on, and then put the whole thing back together and take it up there in the attic and use some heat block gel and just weld the thing with it put together, and never take that little door back off again, because those grommets are such a pain.
Well, here's the thing. And I'm thinking back to just a second ago when I didn't put the doors on correctly and the air blew out. But I'm remembering all the different series of Hyperions and how many times the fasteners for the door changed. And I'm wondering if it was maybe the doors or the fasteners.
It's
a Phillips screw. No, it's not.
Turn. Do you remember those? They turned a quarter of a turn.
I do.
Okay, that was the worst ones. The newest ones that have the screw and the little inserts that you drop and lose and find in the pan, or maybe never, and you got 4 out of the 6, you're okay. But the little clip insert that goes in, and that has the threads for the screw, those are actually, in my opinion, the best.
I remember the ones you're talking about, the quarter turn. It seemed like there was a couple different versions of them because there was an issue, and then I think they solved it after that. Joe left. He doesn't like Tams.
Tell you what happened on the Hyperions. That was one of the few products that Trane made a mistake on, and they stuck it out there too quick. They put it out too fast and just didn't do enough field testing. Like the XV, our inverter unit, we had them out here in the field for a year before we could buy them. Actually, it was 13 months before we could buy them. And I did get the privilege of installing one of the first ones, but I didn't get it for my house. I couldn't get one. I came this close, and some big wig somewhere says, no, we can't let a dealer have one.
Well, that's who should have one.
Well, employees got them, Trane employees, the FSRs got them, and that's where I was able to put one in, was in one of the FSR's house. And we played with it. We were out there goofing around with it, and it was the first one we saw. Now I had seen them in '93 and '94, back when we had them for a short period of time. It was a lot different looking drive. The board was open, but it was the same thing, an inverter that had a 3-phase DC driven compressor. It was the same thing, but we pulled it off the market after about a year and a half, 2 years, because none of us dummies could understand them and work on them. And I must have went to that class at least 3 times, and they were just they were. Here's what I call that unit: the Jimi Hendrix of the HVAC industry. It was just way ahead of its time, and that's why I make the carrier guys so mad. When I say, well, we did it first and we do it best. And then I whip out, because see, I whip out some pictures and show them, but I've got the books. I've got one of the old thermostats, communicating thermostats. I've got all that stuff, evidence of it in the early 90s when we had the inverter driven full variable capacity machine. It went down to 30%.
Now,
700 stages.
So 700 stages goes down to 30%.
Yep.
What makes the units you put in now more installer friendly than that unit?
Nothing. We're just smarter people.
Just more adapted to that sort of technology.
Yeah, and the other thing is, it is a better, it is more plug and play. Like, you'd have to take that thing apart to work on it, and now we just the wiring harnesses are superior. You have that drive off of there in 7 minutes, and a new one back on in another 7 minutes if you've done it before. I mean, it's just everything will only go one way. Pretty quick, better design, but as far as we're just understanding the technology was where we all fell short back in the early 90s. I mean, that's why they tell us they took it off the market. Now, I wasn't privy to the executive meetings, but also I think it was very expensive and it didn't really sell that well.
That's hard to believe. It's a very expensive train. It's weird.
And plus, the other thing that was really bad is our controls now. I think we have like 180 something fault codes, alerts and error codes and stuff. And they self-diagnose pretty much all the way to dang near you can ride there with the part in your hand just by looking online and seeing what's going on, as long as they're online with it. Now, or they can tell you the error code that it gave on the screen. So the diagnostics are way better. And I think maybe that's, why they said they were too far above all the techs' heads. Because we didn't have any diagnostics back then. I mean, we had a meter and, start tracing and chasing. But now the communication and the diagnostics that's built in is really, really superior.
Who at your company can work on them? Just you, or does anybody else work on like the real intricacies of the higher end?
I got one service tech that I got, and what I had to do, I had to buy his company out to get him, but bought him out and brought him on board. It took a while, but I finally got that to happen. And he's definitely pretty savvy. He's been to the classes more than me. And so between he and I mean, he can get me on the phone if he needs to, but he's pretty sharp. He understands them because he loves them.
So he did them previously before he came to work with you. He was already doing that.
Dealer. He was a dealer for 7 years.
For Train.
Oh,
okay. So got rid of the competition.
No, he wasn't really competition, but I did buy him out to bring him on board. Competition would be somebody that, he couldn't buy them as cheap as I could. So it's hard to compete with somebody that doesn't have any buying power, or that has more buying power than you.
Right. Different weight class, so to speak.
Yeah. Be surprised how much cheaper they are in Florida than here, though.
I wouldn't duckboard country? No, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Well, because Joe is actually, and I finally won the battle. It took years, but Joe is actually a train dealer now. He doesn't really like to advertise it, but that's what he sells and installs now.
He told me about him being a train dealer, and last I really investigate, I didn't investigate it for myself. I was part of people looking to be a train dealer as far as knowing them. And they said you had to have X, Y, and Z in place. And when I look at Joe as a single man company, I don't see him at that threshold. Is that a common threshold
to make? You must have looked when it was a distributor product in North and South Carolina and Georgia.
I'm sure
and
that was
Florida.
back then. Yes.
Yeah, and boy, it was tough. I mean, I grew up. The distributor that owned it and his dad lived 3 houses up the street here from me, where I grew up 5 houses up, and they told me no for 9 years. Very protective of their other deal. That's why I had that past of selling Ream in the past.
You did what now? You sold what?
Ream.
Reams are fine, right?
It's absolute junk. It's the worst junk you can buy.
That's the opposite of what I just said. Why do you say that?
Well, because I sold them in the early 90s when they were tough, man, and they were,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they were a decent machine. Now they're made in Mexico, which puts them several notches above the made in China's. So they're not terrible. I just personally wouldn't sell them.
Oh, I remember this because Mexico Ream is like DeWalt because they're made in Mexico, and the Chinese ones are like Milwaukee because they're made in China. That's how I remember it.
You know,
That's how I remember that stuff.
it is what it is. Unfortunately, there's a lot of parts made in China inside of our machines. I mean, the bottom line is, you know, we can't make these. We here in the USA, we can't make iPhones.
They taste horrible.
Yeah, we can't make them.
You know, when the Chinese can't spy on us if they don't make them.
What is Coolin with Kraus asking? How much what?
How much wood does a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? I'm not sure. We had to go back to the chat. Let's check it out. Cooling with Kraus. What's he up to out there? Let's see. He's talking to a different guy.
Kraus? Now, he might be just clowning around, or he might actually want to know how many sheets can a sheet slitter slit if a sheet slitter can't slit sheets.
Well, way to keep that clean. That was a good job.
Almost said it.
That's the idea. Get right to the edge.
But
I think he's having a conversation with a different guy, but I don't know what they're talking
Is
about.
there another Ted?
Oh, did you say Ted? Then maybe I'm wrong.
That is correct.
How much though, Ted? Well, I'll tell you what. I don't know if Joe's coming back or not, but I'm going to take my second break here, which is only like 2 minutes long, Ted. So just
Okay.
hold on.
I'm going to get some chocolate cake while you do that, Zach.
Go get some chocolate cake. We'll be
If you
right
wouldn't
back.
have said it a minute ago while I was doing whatever I was doing, then I wouldn't have to have it now.
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's what we got going on. There's going to be the second break, which includes the HVAC fake news. So you have like 4 minutes.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm going to eat chocolate cake and watch that.
Have your cake and watch it too. Sounds good to me.
Look, he's back and he's got
Oh,
company.
hold
He
on.
found a way to keep him quiet.
Look at Sheldon.
That's the only way. Is that
Yeah.
Sheldon or Sheldon?
It's young
This is
Sheldon.
Sheldon too,
Okay.
number 2,
So they're numbered.
and he might start screaming, so I might have to leave again. But
Well, Joe, we were about to take a
Screaming
break
bloody
for a
murder.
couple minutes.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
fake news time.
I'm gonna do fake news and take like a
Well-
4 or 5 minute break if you want to rock
Yeah.
Sheldon to sleep while we're waiting here.
Oh, he
And
doesn't
listen to
go
the
to sleep
fake
that easy.
duckboard news.
He doesn't go to sleep. He's awake all the time, man.
That's
He
the
just
way
cries.
They feel like he never sleeps.
I've been up for 37 hours, man.
Yeah, so we may or may not be here when we get back, but we'll try. Oh, here he goes.
All right, so we'll take that break now. We'll see how Sheldon hangs on or if he has a temper problem. But we'll be back here in a few minutes. Enjoy the fake news, which will be coming up after our little break here. So be right back. If you enjoy HVAC Shop Talk, live streams, and podcast, you can support us in a variety of different ways. The very simple way on YouTube is to hit that like button and make sure that you are subscribed. If you're subscribed, make sure you're taking part in our live chats. If you want to take it a step further and really help us out, you can join and become a member of this channel. The link to join this channel is in the description of every video. If you're listening to the HVAC Shop Talk podcast, a really easy thing to do is whatever app you're using, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you get a constant feed. Also, take a few minutes and leave a review for the podcast as well. That tells Apple and every other app that you're enjoying the show and you're enjoying the interaction, and that way they'll put it out there to new people all the time. If you want to take your support a step further from the podcast vantage, go to subscribestar.com/Zack-Ciota. You find a link to that in the description of every podcast and video. You can become similar to a channel member, except it's just a different format. I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate it, girls. Anyone watching, and let's get on with the show. If you're expanding a system and you're going to zone a system, sometimes you're going to run into issues getting thermostats into particular locations. EWC solves that issue with the EWT-955WH thermostat. It has several features beyond being wireless. You can use it for gas, oil, heat pump, multi-stage systems, heat only, cool only, millivolt, humidity, and dual fuel, just to name a few. Find out more at EWCControls.com. The Yellow Jacket CA502 combustion analyzer is a simple yet detailed way to look at a heating system. You can perform draft, pressure, and temperature measurements. There's high CO protection for your device, field replaceable sensors, a 12-month warranty. There is an available wireless printer, has built-in dual pressure manometer, and a whole host of other features. You can find out more about Yellow Jacket's brand new combustion analyzer at yellowjacket.com. TrueTechTools.com is the #1 place to get your HVAC testing equipment. You can save yourself 8% off your order at TrueTechTools.com by using my Shop Talk promo code. My name is Zack Ciota, and this is the HVAC Fake News. Goodman is pioneering a brand new manufacturing process to combat their leaking issues. Goodman is calling this method Operation Reverse Psychology. They are releasing the refrigerant around the unit, sprinkling over the top of the unit, in hopes it will leak back into the unit before the customer needs it. In other news, Field Peace has released a product warning for their new wireless temperature probes. Field Peace advises that technicians and installers out there do not use the Field Peace JobLink wireless temperature probe as a human thermometer, especially rectally. Several HVAC technicians and installers have been reported as losing the tip during this process and requiring immediate medical attention. We here at the HVAC Fake News could only hope that this was a misguided medical issue and nothing more. Testo has not needed to put out any such warning because their probes actually don't have the connection distance to perform that medical task. Refco has not put out any warning on their wireless probes only because they desperately want someone to use them for anything. This week, Snips Magazine released 3 interesting HVAC dealer facts which we think you guys will love to hear about. Which HVAC dealer is most likely to have an active bench warrant? Well, that'd be Nortec or Nordyne, as many people know them. Which dealer is most likely to make love with socks, shoes, or sandals still on their feet? That'd be Trane or American Standard. Which dealer is most likely to be involved in a fist fight or scuffle with their own customer? You guessed it, that's Goodman. In our human interest story tonight, technician Gino Giasupa was having a very difficult day. This difficult day was made all the more worse with his wife's calling and incessant nagging about what time that he would be home. Finally, Gino snapped. Gino angrily replied to the final phone call saying that he'll be home as soon as he can be home. He doesn't predict the work or the weather. She better have dinner ready and be legs up on the bed when he gets there. Services will be held this weekend at First Baptist Church at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Zack Ciota, and that was the Fake News. Okay, so Joe is missing now. He's been missing for the last little while. Pretty sure he's got a child that's screaming somewhere in the distance, and that's fine. Ted is still here. He's checking his text messages right now off the screen, which is fine as well. So let me tell you a little bit about something I like to call the skilled trade-up, and then Ted, you'll come back in here in just a second. So the skilled trade-up, guys, that's a game show that should replace The Price is Right, if I had anything to say about it, which I don't, so it doesn't. I ask you guys trivia questions after you come on the air. I'll put a link in the chat. you'll come onto the air with me. You can answer these trivia questions, and each time you answer one, you win a prize. For example, let me break it down here real quick. You could win by answering a very easy question. This shirt. Now, shirts are great. Everybody loves a good shirt. But if you're feeling squirrely about it, you could trade up. You could risk that prize to answer a second question and get all these cool stickers and stuff. Oh, man, that's great. Look at all of them. That's fantastic. Companies we know and love and Shop Talk, our favorite podcast, right? It's okay. Don't answer that. And a third question, you answer that right, you get all this other stuff. Makita bag, man, we love Makita. Makita's great stuff. Appion, everybody likes Appion. Beckett shirt, everybody likes shirts and Beckett. And if you get all of them right and you get to the fourth question, you're going to risk everything and answer a very difficult question. You could win this Yellow Jacket combustion analyzer, or as I like to say, the grand prize. It's written on the screen. That's why I like to say it. I came up with that. So, of course, yeah, if you want to sit in front of your television and just yell, I know the answer, that's fine, but you don't win anything that way, and no one knows if you're smart or not, which might be a good precaution, especially if you're yelling something and it turns out to be the opposite thing. You really dodged a bullet. But we got to have people in here. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the link here. I'm going to leave it in the chat. If you want to play, just hit the link. You'll come onto the air. You'll be like off the screen to start with. I'm going to leave you there. We'll see you there. Then we'll play a little theme song and then you'll play. You'll have a few lifelines here to choose from. You can choose one lifeline, just one. You can either ask the chat if you get stumped. You can pick two, meaning you can pick two answers instead of one, and either one of them's right, then you get it right. Or number three, you ask the expert. The experts have been talking this whole time. So if you think that's the way you want to go, you can go with that too. Maybe they'll ask about train evaporator coils, something like that. I don't have any questions about those, so that's not going to happen. But you can use the expert, pick two, or ask the chat. Only use one of those, okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put that link in the chat. I'm going to copy and paste. You can plop in here. Let me paste. And the first person that plops in here gets to play. And until that moment, I'm going to bring Ted back on the screen with me. Howdy, Ted. Welcome back.
I guess I can't play.
No, you can't play. You can help, though. Why do you need to play when you already have it all? That's what I say.
I can't find my answer key.
Your answer key. Where's my buzzer at? Where's all the? Yeah, I got some real stinker questions here that are really easy, and then I got some ones that are, one of them's pretty daggone difficult, and someone wants to win.
I know where Joe went.
Where did Joe go?
He heard that.
That's a whip for anyone who's wondering. We do have a person that has appeared down there. So Ted, you want to stay on the screen while this guy's playing?
Probably not while he's playing, unless we participate in it, because
let me help.
I don't want everybody to see how dumb I look when I can't answer what he's answering either.
That's super risky.
You should watch me so that I don't pick up my phone.
Wait, yeah, you wouldn't be the first person.
Yeah, that's not.
This game has been corrupted before. We can't stand for it. Not by you. Not by you.
I love
no.
this game, man.
Well, there was a guy who was on the screen and disappeared. Ross, I see you down there. You're number one. So go ahead and start spiking the football early. I'm not, don't do that, because we have a lot of guys who end up, we've seen them in the past, crash and burn. All right, Ted, I'm going to say goodbye to Ted for just a moment. Hang tight, have some cake, and let's see how Ross does here.
You knew that's what I really wanted to do.
Yeah, I'm giving you an opportunity to eat cake without having everybody have to watch it. So we'll see you in just a second. Eat cake away. All right, now we have, we got to play the theme, right? Everything I have has a theme, and I worked on it, so we're going to play it. If I can find it. I can. It's right here. I just got to scroll down. All right, we're going to play some skilled trade up, guys. Here we go. Look, we have. Oh man, I gotta see what you wrote here. Let's see. Oh no, you wrote something serious. Okay.
That
I was seeing what you wrote on the screen down there under your name, and it's actually a serious thing. It's not a joke. I'm used to people writing jokes. So welcome to the show, Ross. How you doing?
hey, good.
Oh man, you broke up a little bit. I'm gonna cross my fingers and say this is gonna work out for you, Ross. I think it will.
I think I finger over my mic on my phone.
Oh, good. That's like the best case scenario of anything that's ever happened on
Right.
the show. Okay. Well, all right. So, have you seen this game played before?
Nope. I hope I didn't get myself into something I shouldn't have.
Well, hey, it's gonna be fun either way. So,
Hey, let's do it.
I ask you a question, you get it right, you win something. And if you want to keep going, you risk what you got for the next thing. That's
All
the
right.
premise of the game. There's 4 questions, and you could end up with the combustion analyzer, which is pretty sweet. That's pretty good to win on some random Saturday night live stream. So, are you ready?
I think so.
No one really knows until the question comes, So, I'm going to cue some music here to play along to kind of heighten the mood. Here we go. And here's your first question. This is your easy question, and you're going to potentially win this sweet HVAC Shop Talk shirt, which I find in a box in the back of my shop. So thank goodness for that. Here we go. TEV, TXV, and EEV are examples of A, capacitor grades, B, motors, C, expansion devices, or D, electric vehicles. What say you, Ross?
C.
You say, which one did you say?
He hasn't charged.
Okay, so I should probably just say the whole thing, because evidently all these letters sound the same across the internet. So you said C, expansion devices,
Yes.
and you know what? I hate to say it, but
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
I love playing that. That's our friend John right there. So you are exactly right. It is expansion devices. You are now the proud owner of this sweet shirt.
All right.
But shirts are great. But you could have all these stickers, the Nylog 2-pack, and a shirt if you risk the shirt. What do you say?
I say let's go for it.
Man, it's like you've watched this show before. That's all people say is, let's do it. Every single time. And of course, you have to play our trade up noise. Awesome. And you can loop it like I did, evidently, and keep playing it over and over again. Okay, what I have to do now is I'm going to actually turn off the live chat so they can't help or hinder, depending on how you look at it, depending on what question is.
I
So
can't see the chat, I don't think, in this StreamYard.
Oh, okay then. Well, you know what? You doubly can't see them because they're gone right now. They'll be back in a minute. We have our second question here, and it's going to be medium, low medium. We'll call it. We have 4 total questions, and here's your second one. And good luck. The brand Weather King is a variation of this major brand. A, Train, B, Rheem, C, Goodman, or D, Lennox. And you have lifelines. You can use a lifeline if you need it.
I'm going to go B.
B, Rheem, is that your final answer?
Yeah.
The final answer, is it actually Rheem?
That's exactly right.
It is Rheem. You are correct. Man, you got a shirt. Say that one more time.
I wasn't even sure about that. I just thought I saw that on the top of some of the older ones. You know what I'm saying?
That's a real success story here. I like that. Just kind of guessed. Well, that's what we call it. The term for that here is we call that balls to the wall. You're just going to play until you crash and burn, or succeed, which is what we hope for. You could trade up again, keep succeeding, get a tool bag, some Appion stickers. Put them Appion stickers everywhere.
How many other players we got queued up here, Zach?
Well, I see one more player in there, and it's totally up to you. You know, you can keep going, or you can take your stuff and go home. I mean, that's fine too. You have these great stickers.
All right, I'm gonna keep going. We'll see what happens.
All right, he's going to keep going. Let's see. No one's ever stopped before. Actually, sometimes people stop, but it's not very common.
I don't.
Yeah, you got to keep going, right? You got to keep. Oh yeah, I'm sure you're going to get this right too. There'll be no regret involved with this today. So You going for these prizes right here on the screen. You got a bag, got a Beckett shirt, you got all the stickers, man. You're gonna be so happy as long as you get this next question right. I'm sure you will. Let's speed the music up to add some tension. And here's the third question right here. Slightly harder than the last ones. R32 has A, no glide, B, a glide of less than 5 degrees Fahrenheit, C, a glide of 6 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit, or D, a glide over 10 degrees Fahrenheit. And you have lifelines.
I've never used R32, so I'm gonna say let's ask the.
You want to ask the chat?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's ask those chat people. I'm gonna turn the chat back on. We'll give them a minute to reconvene. That's your only lifeline, so that's what you got here. You're gonna be using that chat.
All right.
And chat should be opening back up right about now. And chime in. What do you guys think is the actual answer? R32 has no glide, a glide of less than 5, a glide of 6 to 10, or a glide over 10. Adam says no glide. Mark says no glide. One guy just said easy, but he doesn't say the answer, so you don't know if he actually knows or not, or he's just saying easy. One of them's guessing A. Adam says it's not a blend, there's no glide. So all the people so far have either said it's easy or they said it's A.
I'm gonna go with A then.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
You trust these people? Oh man, well
That's exactly right.
they're right. There's no glide. It's a single component refrigerant. It doesn't have a combination of refrigerant, so you're good to go.
What is R32 used? What application do they use that in?
They use R32 in this air conditioning, high temperature stuff. They use it. There's systems that you would have seen it in already, like smaller stuff like window units and stuff had R32, I believe. And I think it's going to be more widespread as we go on here in the next few years. But that's where I don't know if it's used in any middle or low temperature stuff. I'm not familiar with that. I didn't think so, but I don't know. So R32, slightly flammable. Enjoy R32. But now you're one step away from the grand prize, which is quite a jump up from where we've been. That's Ted's raising his hands saying, I think that means go for it. But of course, it's going to be a hard question.
I'm going to go for it.
All right, you have no lifelines. You're going to go for it. I'm sure it's going to end up fine. There'll be no crashing and burning here today. Let's find out. Without further ado, here's your final question for the grand prize. The temperature and pressure at which the solid, liquid, and vapor phases of a substance can coexist in equilibrium. Yeah, it already sounds like it's going to suck. A, midpoint. B, triple point. C, absolute zero. Or D, the Roche limit. Again, that's the temperature and pressure at which the solid, liquid, and vapor phases of a substance can coexist in equilibrium. Midpoint, triple point, absolute zero, or the Roche limit.
I'm going to go with D, the Roche limit.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
For all the marbles, is it the Roche limit?
Oh.
I don't know if you hear that, but it is a no.
Yeah, heard it.
The temperature and pressure at which the solid, liquid, and vapor phases of substance can coexist is going to be triple point, where all three of those things converge. And let's see, one guy said triple in the chat, which I forgot to turn off again. What's that?
I should have paid more attention in physics.
Well, I tell you what, anyone that takes physics probably didn't go into the trades anyway, so don't even worry about it.
I did. I love trade.
I would have said I was a brick mason. It didn't come up in brick masonry, but it was a great try. Nice effort right there. Thank you for playing. You can play again next time. Okay, win something else. All right, man. I appreciate it. Take care. Cool. Oh man, Ross was so close. Man. Hey, look. Hey, Duckboard King, you're back. I'll put you on the screen. Look, Ted's back. What do you think about all that? Did you know?
Man, I was trying to help too. The chat was over there. I was holding up 3 fingers. You know, I mean, you had me blocked.
We had you blocked.
You,
blocked. I can't even block somebody that fast.
He
Are you
blocked
kidding?
me like John HVAC blocks me on his chats.
I don't think John HVAC blocks anybody.
I didn't.
Where did you find that question though?
Oh, yeah, he
And can
blocked
you?
me.
Oh,
Don't
I was
tell
just
Joe.
like doing my normal surfing around the internet for fun facts.
Like,
Yeah.
where does that? Can you explain that question? Like, how can a solid, liquid, and vapor all exist?
Here's my explanation of it as best I understand. Taking the dynamic of pressure and temperature into account, where your melting points and stuff changes as the pressure changes, like in vacuum. You reach a certain point in temperature at which a substance can be all three things at once.
Do you
And
have
I'm
a
guessing-
PP chart, Joe?
So some is ice, some is water, and some is vapor.
For example, yeah, they could all three exist at that point. I'm
Interesting.
guessing that's a fine point. But
Like it, yeah.
Like
Interesting.
balancing a basketball on the end of a pencil.
yeah, just like that.
Which
And that's
Ted showed me
science.
that he can do when I visited him.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the truth?
Also held up my 3 fingers for the answer, but that's only because I looked it up on Google when Zack wasn't looking.
That's what the contestants do.
Actually, I didn't do that, but I should have.
Are you
I
allowed to
would've
do
have.
that?
No,
No, you're not allowed to do that.
you, you can
You're
usually
allowed
tell.
to do that?
Okay, there's a psychology thing here that I'm going to explain to people who play this show, which is how you can tell if someone's doing that. If you ever been to a public pool and you see someone's urinating in the pool, they have a certain expression and body motion. They'll be laughing and fun, then they'll kind of stop and slow down and just kind of stare into the distance. That's the same look these people have when they Google stuff, because I've seen them do it. I've seen like people looking down, same look. It's called
That's the
urination
look
syndrome.
Joe
That's
had
when you go
he-
wrong. You just have to keep moving like nothing's.
That's how
different.
Joe looked when he saw the van
Yeah.
he came to buy.
Yeah, I was like, oh my
He saw it
gosh.
in person.
You ever clean this thing?
No, but he said, well, it's not as clean as I thought it was.
He's trying to get a discount.
Well, I
Looked
didn't
like
know.
Ted like jumped on the shelves and caved them in. I'm like, golly, what did you do in this thing?
What a crybaby. Find another access and we'll see. I'll buy them all.
I made my own. I just cut big panels in my Ford van.
Custom. Yep. There's someone going to ask Ted a question. This is how we're going to end tonight because it's after 10 o'clock now. It's someone who's going to ask you a question, but I don't know what the question is yet because they didn't
he
actually
has-
ask the question.
Pluralized that now.
It is plural now. Let's go with the best one. Let's get the best one, and all the other ones, like what does Ted eat and stuff, we'll omit those.
One may lead to another, but it's something that he's picked up on from another chat we were on. Maybe we were on Cooling with Krause's thing or something, on his live stream.
Mhm.
And he picked up something in there, but I don't see anything. Like, here's his opportunity, and he fell asleep.
This is it. I mean, yeah, he can type. It must be a
Sam,
long.
where are you?
We'll give him a second to do his thing. We'll
What
see.
do I carry? Depends on what day it is, what time of year. If it's cold, it's hot. I usually carry more than one. I guess I shouldn't tell that, but
You already did. What do you carry? A Derringer?
No.
Well, that's not it. That's definitely not it. Oh, wait, no. Oh, good grief.
Okay. What's a Jimmy Wiggler? What's your secret to changing a reversing valve? Well, I have one little trick I use, but there's no real secret. And where to buy the Smart Snake? Oh, yeah, the Smart Snake's pretty cool, but I cut them and use them by hand. The Smart Snake, just get online and buy it from wherever. You start typing it in, it starts coming up. Let's see if we can show him a Jimmy Wiggler.
Oh, good grief. Hey, put your pants back on, man.
Well, he wants to see a Jimmy Wiggler. I'm gonna show this dude a Jimmy Wiggler.
For those of you listening to this as a podcast, Ted's actually buck naked right now,
Mhm.
and he's pointing at something. It's too pixelated to see. No, what you got? You got double
That's a
stick
Jimmy
on?
Wiggler. So the Jimmy Wiggler I use to temporarily provide power to a blower motor for continuous fan while waiting for the board in case I don't have the board for a furnace. I'll stick that, like I'll go to where the transformer is,
Optimus Prime.
pull it off and plug that on the transformer and plug the transformer there and the high speed to the blower there and stick the door switch back in, the door back on, whatever, and you got full time. So that's what a Jimmy Wiggler
I
is.
thought a Jimmy Wiggler was anything you want it to be.
Like a vague term.
I didn't see where he asked Joe anything.
Oh, let me check.
No.
Nope. Nothing
I'm
about
just
this.
Joe
saying, I
anything,
thought
or
a
was
Jimmy
Joe
Wiggler
supposed to be
was-
zip it over there. And the only secret I have to changing a reversing valve is something you never think of. But instead of unsweating it, just take a big pair of something, one of those. What are those tools that they're shaped
Bolt
like that
cutters?
and they cut?
Xylophone.
Yeah, xylophone, and cut the valve. Cut it right up near the valve, and then all you got to do is unsweat the little pieces out of it with the valve out of your way, and it's a lot easier that way.
I agree with that.
Adam says cut the valve out. Now, obviously, you can't cut the new one in.
I
But,
bought a
That's what Zoom locks are for.
Uniwell makes a fork with 3 flames with a flexible copper.
Yeah, I bought
I wanna
every
try
one
it.
of those, the circle one, the everything, and I just can't make it happen. But I make a shield to put behind it out of sheet metal if it's on a train anyway, because you're right up against the
You know it will be.
fine fin coil. Just because it's a failure doesn't mean it's a train, Zach. Actually, it's pretty likely.
That's supposed to be tricky.
So, well, you said you know it will be.
I got to verify through your language if you were saying train is good or bad. You said train was fine.
It's the best money can buy. I never said that I was perfectly satisfied with it. I complain about their things of theirs all the time.
It's the best all your money can buy. That's what that means.
No, it's just the best money can buy for, in my opinion. But you said
Maximum
in one of
comfort.
your videos, but you mentioned bolt cutters, and that's too big to fit in the tubes. Well, I'll tell you this: don't take a sawzall to it and get metal shavings all down in the pipes. But
Lesson learned on that.
there's some
Angle
kind of-
grinder? No.
It looks like a angle grinder. It looks like a bolt cutter, but it's got those circular shaped jaws that surpass each other.
Oh yeah, like for the big thick wires.
Right. I think it is an electrician's tool.
What are you talking about?
Bigger
Like the-
wires.
Talking
device-
about
Oh,
the
like
step
cable cutters?
or something. Yeah.
Like the curved jaw cable cutter for like the bit. Yeah.
Yeah, cable cutters. There it is. That's what it is. And I got a couple of them. I just don't know what they are. And I'll cut that brass, I'll cut the part of the, I guess it's copper, but I'll cut it cross cuts, whatever, But as far as putting them in, I mean, you can use, I like wet rag, but in the old days when I changed a lot more of them than I do now, because I'll just change the whole unit and charge train or charge them or something. But I would take an actual wet rag and wrap it around through. Well, we get 3 no questions asked a year, and it's not that many. Like I've never put a compressor in an inverter. I just changed the whole unit. We get 3 a year. No questions asked. Now they've changed it from no questions asked to do the right thing, and we can replace any unit as long as it's within warranty and we don't have to fix it. 3 a year.
Goodman should do that. That'd be good.
If you're, yeah, good.
50 a year.
Nobody
No
would
more.
ever do it unless they really needed to. But how you charge for a train for a whole new unit? I'm interested. Well, like I said,
This must be that line of questioning.
Sends
you
them
were
an
talking about.
invoice.
yeah,
I send them an invoice too, and I never hear back.
Dear train.
dear train, I am Joe Shearer. I know
Yes.
you've never heard of
Trash
me.
can. Shredder.
But here is your invoice due tomorrow, please.
Comfort Care Benefit. I don't know what that is, but we are TCS dealer, Trained Comfort Specialist dealers. And there's different levels, and you get so many of this, so many of that. And the do what's right or do the right thing or no questions asked, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what they call it this year. They change it every year, but we get 3 a year. And I certainly reserve them for 20 SEER machines, but one time I changed a reversing valve, and there's a video of it. So if you really want to find it, go dig back and you'll see where in the yard I had the entire train package unit completely apart everywhere in the backyard.
And that's not even a unit he was working on.
Of a single wide trailer. And then I found out I was at the neighbor's house. No, but I had the whole thing apart and had the condenser coil off, had the lid propped up with PVC.
Then he figured out it was a straight cool.
Probably should have just pulled the compressor out and reached in there, but you just can't get some torches to work with no oxygen, and you get up in this housing and try to weld, and it just doesn't work well.
Got to pipe oxygen in there with a separate tube. Just fill that whole area with oxygen.
Or you just throw away the B tank torch that I use and get an actual real torch with oxyacetylene. And
is that what you call your MAP gas? A B tank?
I don't use MAP gas.
I thought you said MAP gas was the way to go.
I mean, I'll use it like on a gas line or if I'm just putting a 3/8 filter dryer or something. But,
okay.
Up in the attic changing that, but I don't use MAP gas to change out a unit or anything.
MAP gas is only 10 degrees warmer than Zoom lock.
Yeah, MAP gas is really not MAP gas any longer. You notice now it's MAP. Now, back in the 90s, it was MAPP, and it actually had acetylene in it. I've got a few of the cans of the real stuff, and it would get a lot hotter. Eddie says he wants to hear more about ductboard. No, you don't. You just want everybody to fight and argue.
That's a false statement right there. This is reality television.
He's a good guy. He's the type that will ask an intelligent question. He's just joking around right there, but he'll ask an intelligent question and make an intelligent comment. But since me and Joe clowned around so much over the ductboard stuff, maybe he's just for that benefit.
No, he probably wants to genuinely hear about how it's the superior product to build duct plenums out. It's easier to work.
Now you got me. Now
it's too late for this stuff, guys. I can see right now. I'd like to talk for 22 minutes.
Superior product, best money can buy, Ted.
All right. Well, don't start off with a huge lie.
22 minutes. He just said you got 22 minutes.
After 22 minutes, the stream will have been off. You guys will be talking to just each other on a video phone call.
No thanks.
Which I think you did this last week already, unless you got some kind of scientific proof in between last week and this week.
Enough to say that it was a superior product last time.
Superior product. It all starts down in the jungle in South America where they get the finest fiberglass tree ever. And that's where they harvest the fiberglass.
The tree?
The fiberglass tree.
I don't like that. That's not environmentally friendly.
Are you sure that's not like a marijuana plant or something you're playing with?
Absolutely not, Ted. They get the finest fiberglass tree, and then they take it and they press it.
Oh, it's those coconuts where the strings are around the coconut and they fall on your head?
No, Ted. No, this is a fiberglass tree. It grows little pieces.
That's ridiculous, Ted. We're talking about a fiberglass tree. Okay. What you said was ridiculous. Now, Joe, back to the fiberglass tree, please.
Thank you, Zach. Unlike Ted's internally lined metal.
Listen, I'm smart.
Where they get the fiberglass tree.
I know the guy that invented that.
Who's Z-Man and his dad?
And he wrote into Daikin and told him, your stupid 1/4 inch end is too fat and it won't take the capacitor bracket screw out of the carrier.
Your daddy will rock and roll.
And so I have a claim to fame. What do you have, Joe?
A fiberglass tree?
Got 2 turntables and a microphone.
Do you know
and
what
that's
a
where it's
space
at.
pin is, Joe?
What?
Do you know what a space pin is?
It's a pen that you sign to go on
Do
a
you
ride to
know
space
why?
Elon Musk pen or something.
Do you know why it's called? And then it comes out and makes a full size. So it goes in your pocket
with. Okay.
in a small amount of space, but that's not why it's called a space pen. But it snaps together and makes a full size pen so you can actually write with it. But do you know why it is called a space pen?
Because Mr. JT Space invented it.
No, because it
There's
was
no space for it.
invented. It was invented for astronauts to take in outer space, and it will write because it's a pressurized pen and it writes upside down. Or
yeah,
in
I should have read the chat. Gosh, dang
zero
it.
gravity. Oh yeah, I read the chat. I've been carrying the same one 12 years in my pocket, but I read the chat. You should have read
12
it.
years. You don't write much, do you?
I've had that for 12 years.
He doesn't write much, but when he does it upside down.
I never said I could write.
You want to sign his
Yeah.
contract? Can we get off the jungle gym and do it? No.
I said I knew what a space pen was. I never said I could write.
So you kept that in your pocket for 12 years with a bunch of Jimmy Wigglers?
The
Literacy would have been great.
Same actual one for 12 years. A very important friend of mine gave it to me as a Christmas present back when they were unheard of.
How come you didn't let me borrow that one when I asked for a pen?
Because I don't like you.
I like that. I like the cutting nature of the directness of that statement
Man.
compared to Space Pen. The story was exceptional.
Actually, I didn't let you use that one because you didn't ask.
I didn't know to ask, but if you had a space pen, I wish you would have offered it.
It would have never occurred to me.
Always keep one of these in your pocket.
Why? How often do you need that?
Is that a Jimmy Wiggler?
Actually, I never have needed it. I just have one in my pocket in case I drop it.
You really carry that with you everywhere?
Do you really
Drop
like
it
walking
in
to the thing in the
insulation
airport
station.
several times over and over again? You're still beeping. Go through one more time. Oh, yeah. It's
Uh,
Bobby Goggler or whatever.
Bet you don't know what that is.
Was that like a...
It's like for a furniture or something.
Yeah, that's a furniture little thing you
Actually,
hook the
that does go inside the thing and then you screw. How'd I get that in my
You got something more difficult.
Is that what the new trains are using now?
That's how they keep those doors
carries
on.
those in their pocket. I hope everybody keeps those.
Yeah,
Oh.
good old 10 amp fuse for when those fives keep blowing.
Troubleshooting with Joe.
Joe, don't use a 10 amp fuse.
Well,
Yeah, why not?
The rest
Ted,
of
how many things are in your pocket right now? I just want to kind of wrap my mind around it.
I
Gosh,
do loves.
you wouldn't believe you wouldn't believe the pile. Now that's a very special
That's a guitar pick.
Jazz 3 with the little point.
I have the Jazz one.
Very
Mhm.
special. That one's also been in the pocket for probably really close to many years.
Is it like your lucky rabbit's foot?
Listen to all that stuff. You hear all the stuff that just shifted across his desk? That's like 50 blue wire nuts just traveling across the desk toward the other side. One, hey,
There's
one's
usually
good enough,
two or
actually.
three.
That's funny.
Crap.
Well, this is a good time
There
to.
goes the Jimmy Wiggler.
Hey, he's distracted. The show's going to end now, everybody. He's got to
Oh.
fix in the. Up, he's packing. He's packing, guys. Did you see
Jeez,
that?
how many bits you need, son?
How many Malco bits do you need?
Did man, you could lose like 18 pounds if you just carried one of those. Ted.
That's only one pocket.
He also
How
got
many do you
57
need
keys.
Look at that
What the
pocket.
crap? Hey, what are you, the key guy from the Matrix? Well, you
Yeah.
got like 5,000 keys right there.
Well, Joe saw 3 warehouses,
Mm-hmm.
and he
Oh,
can
that's
tell
just-
you I got something for all them keys to fit.
So their warehouse is just full of like keys and wire nuts and stuff from your pocket.
Yeah.
Well,
30 years of wire nuts.
I collect locks and cars
Mhm.
that hook to them, and motorcycles, and padlocks on doors. And actually, I've been meaning to take this big pile in and sort them out and put rings on them and hang them in this cool key box I got. for about 2 months, and they've been in my pocket for that whole 2 months, and the same pair of pants.
And now 3 are missing.
None are missing. It actually
3.
keeps getting added to. That's the problem.
Never missing.
3 are missing.
Never missing.
Never
Nothing.
missing. These
Never
came
missing.
out of my pocket
Never
too, but these aren't
missing.
very interesting.
O-rings. Why do
No.
you carry O-rings?
Those are not O-rings. O-rings don't stretch that easy.
A rubber band?
They're not rubber.
Those
bands.
that's for his
That's his
ponytail, bro.
Yeah, I was
It's
gonna
his
say.
ponytail things. All right.
So it doesn't
I'm
get
sorry.
caught in the
I
blow
ruined
window.
So what my question is will the skilled trade up game ever go back to the designated situation where there were 3 and sometimes more, but depending on how long it took? I think you had a time limit. You had like a 40-minute game or something, and then
Mhm.
sometimes 3 people would play, sometimes 1, sometimes 4 or 5. Is it ever going back to where it's not just, one
Singular. That would depend on how many people wanted to play it. If I saw a whole bunch of people consistently, then maybe we do
well, there
that
was
too.
1.
There was 2.
I
There was
like
another
it when
guy,
the
but he left.
combustion analyzer
So there's
gets-
2, and you cut him right
Mm.
off.
No, he left. I was going to actually let him play.
Oh,
he left
was
before I
in?
could respond.
He was in, so we had 2 players.
Oh yeah, yeah. He could have been
So-
on the show. Yeah,
And he may have gotten that combustion analyzer.
he could have. He could have.
So can me and Joe arm wrestle for it? And since nobody won it,
Here's what I'd like to do, which I think will be similar to that somewhat. I'm going to put the question up on the screen. The first one of you guys answers it,
Gets
and then
the yellow jacket combustion analyzer.
well,
Let me
no,
finish that sentence.
no,
What?
not
What?
that. But you might get the Portavour.
Can I trade up?
Yeah, the guys in the chat, he's like, "Oh no, I didn't know." Hey, tune in next time, man. It could be your lucky time. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to ask you guys this one question. Then I'm just going to cut you off and end the show because it's apparent that we're not going to stop on our own.
that sounds exciting to me.
So
I'm
here you
fairly
go.
Intelligent.
Let's see which one of you guys can answer this. I bet Ted can.
Joe really wants to.
There you go. The GE 2.3 variable speed blower motor module is connected to a controller with 2 5-pin connectors, a 5 and a 16, a 16, or a 5 and a 10.
That's a trick question. There's no such thing as a GE 2.3 variable speed blower motor module.
Yeah, sure. You know what I'm talking about.
Trick question.
Okay, well, get your lawyer on it. Joe, do you know what it is?
I'll go with a B. B, please.
I would say C.
Joe,
Boom.
16 pin connector.
Boom.
Joe.
Send me my yellow jacket.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's
I just
exactly
wanted to be
right.
opposite of Joe.
All right.
And since Joe
Zack,
was
I'll
right,
email-
you achieved the opposite.
All right,
And he
guys. Sorry,
did
I won the yellow jacket.
A
Won't be,
bladeless fake battery sawzall. for
Bladeless
answering
fake
it.
battery sawzall. Excellent. I agree. I enjoyed that
So
sawzall
if
as
I
well.
prove there's no such thing as that particular module that you've made the question about, do I get anything?
Yes.
Actually,
If you
yeah.
can prove that it's more than just the semantics of language that you're trying to go into, then yes.
So in other words, you knew what
I knew
Right.
that you knew,
I was bluffing,
which I knew.
and Joe won.
So just keep putting in
won.
those plastic air handlers, and
And you
that's
said
it.
that.
Hey, it's the end of the show. It's the end of the
Stick to
show.
that, 'cause
Don't
I
you
know
say
how
that.
to do that.
I'm playing the thing, and then we can talk more. But the show has to end. So enjoy this photo montage from people who sent them in, including Joe right here. And just remember, Hyperions are plastic.